Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? Hashtag Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Musayome Sally, and today EC and I are going solo. Hi, EC of Fatherland.
I miss my petite babe.
You say me we no call her petite again, no? No, that one we have to be. we have to be
very careful before she blows up on us.
How are you?
I've been well, and I've been taking things a step at a time, and I'm looking forward to the end of the year already. As we speak, I can't wait for December.
Really? Why?
Christmas. It's all about Christmas for me.
That's nice.
Absolutely. And you, have you been? I like your outfit. It's so pretty.
Thank
and
you.
Colorful.
Very colorful. You know,
is this a signature or something?
This is not my style, but you know, I have a friend. I mean, she designed this Ingo_designs. I think that's her name on Instagram. But I posted it on Instagram so you can go and see. I said, "Oh, I really want to give you a design of mine." I said, "Oh, wow." You know, so I didn't think about, you know, the color. I mean, this is definitely not UWA, but I've learned that I always, for you to actually make anything out of life, you must be willing to go out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
You must do things that you're not comfortable doing.
Totally.
You know, sometimes people are set in their ways. It is either this is how I want it,
no other way.
Nobody else can tell me what to do. This is how I want my thing.
It's either this or the highway.
You've not seen life. When you see life, you would understand that flexibility brings you much more.
Exactly.
You know, than you can ever imagine. You know, you just need to free up your mind. So when I saw it, I was like, I really loved the dress, and it looks so good.
It's lovely. You know? I love the color.
It's definitely not. Anybody that sees it says, wow, because I would not go to a store to buy it. I'd rather go buy my black. Not even colorful things like this.
Yeah.
Well, hey. That's life.
What it is.
Life,
exactly.
Yeah.
You have to be flexible, like you said.
You have to be flexible.
So, like I said, but it did come out nice.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love the dress.
Totally.
I love it. I love it.
Lovely.
Thank you so much, Benny. That's her name. All right. So today we're talking diversity, inclusion, and we're talking equity, right?
Yes.
And it's interesting because I saw the report and I said, wow, okay, this actually is something worth having a conversation on.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's what we're talking about today. And here's what we found as today's quote: diversity is having a seat at the table, inclusion is having a voice, and belonging is having that voice be heard. This is from Liz Foislane. All right, so as I had mentioned earlier, when we talk of diversity in the context of Nigeria, a number of criteria easily comes to mind, identified as 6 criteria, for instance, which the typical Nigerian would consider relevant: ethno-linguistic, religious, regional, gender, age, physical, and mental disability. Those are those regions are where you consider when you talk diversity or inclusion or whatever. And Dr. Okere and Dr. Mirel Shulman Onyechi are here to discuss enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in Nigeria. But first, let us take a break to see what we found in the news. You're still watching Ways. Now, World Premature Day was created on November 17th, 2011 to raise awareness of the millions of children every year who are born prematurely. While technology and medical procedures in the world have increased over the years, preterm babies still carry a huge vulnerability to develop cerebral palsy, delays in development, hearing problems, and sight problems. Additionally, while neonatal death in the US is low in comparison to most parts of the world, premature birth accounts for a quarter of all neonatal death. That's part of the many reasons why World Prematurity Day was created, to shine a light on the risk and hardship created by preterm or premature birth, cost effective and proven solutions, and spreading compassion for families who have experienced premature birth rather. So that being said, many premature babies grow up to be completely healthy individuals, with some even becoming notable public figures such as Winston Churchill and Albert Einstein. I have a lot of premature babies around me. Nama was born preterm, I think.
Wow.
They're my sister's twin. Ethan and Elsa. Oh my God. You have seen them when they were little. Oh, sugar. My brother-in-law's daughter, Millie Jane, she was born preterm as well. In fact, I saw her. You know how you see, like, you are almost seeing the veins, the intestine, everything. That's how transparent. But when you see her today, she's very, very rugged.
And most premature babies actually grow up to be quite big. But I would also look at it from the perspective of premature babies who are born in environment, especially in Nigeria, where they do not have the facilities to actually take care of them.
You know what Norma told me?
And they have to let them go.
You know what Norma told me? In fact, I think that's her grandmother, the kind of native intelligence she had, I don't know. She said while they had them, because they were so small, I don't know if they were preterm or something, but she remembered that the story was told to her that her grandmother would bring the lantern and keep them warm in the, so I used to wonder why, because in the north where I grew up, I used to wonder why some babies, they would bring, everywhere would be so hot, they bring lanterns and all of that. It was when I grew older, I now realized that, those were actually preterm babies, that they were trying to, keep them in a
even
warm
newborn
place.
babies, they still do the same thing to them. Well, so I think that's the angle.
Whenever Norma comes, she'll come and share her story herself, because I don't have that story.
So that's the story that actually resonated with me in that context.
Yeah.
And I think Nigeria, or the
we've
hospitals,
improved.
Still
we
not
have
in
improved
rural areas,
no,
still,
but we have improved
and even some areas in Lagos State. We are going too far when we talk about rural areas. Some areas in Lagos State where we also have individuals who give birth, or ladies who give birth to premature children, but the hospitals do not have the facility to actually take care of them.
Right,
and they actually let the children go in the process.
As well. So more needs to be done, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
So what did you find first in the news?
Okay. What I found is from the Vanguard, and it says Nigerian households' food security under threat. And this was said by the World Bank. This is quite dear to me because we know the state of the economy, and we know how food crisis has actually been in Nigeria currently. And when you go to the market, there is practically nothing that is easy to buy. Food, or should I say inflation, has risen tremendously. So the report says the effects of COVID-19 pandemic has brought Nigerian household food security under threat. And in a new report, COVID-19 in Nigeria, Frontline Data and Pathway for Policy, released in Washington last night, the bank said that Nigeria already faced complex developmental challenges, and the pandemic continues to affect health outcomes, human capital accumulation, household poverty, and coping strategies and labor market. So this is crucial to the growth of Nigeria, because the more we look at the state of our economy, the more we think about how expensive things are in the market to buy. Our food insecurity stemmed from the challenges that farmers had to go through in their farms. Yeah. And, there is so much to be done to, curb this menace that is actually on the rise.
Okay. On a lighter note, I found this story quite interesting. First of all, let me just put it out there. If you are my friend and you cannot give me 1 million naira from tonight, I'm no longer your friend. So I saw this story quite interesting and I thought to talk about it. Davido actually did a video where he said he called his friends, you know, almost like, show some love and all of that. I think they say his birthday is coming up in a few days or something.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't remember.
he's a Scorpio.
So he started this and like play. Under how many, I think it's about how many minutes or something, he has raised a total sum of 109 million naira.
He has a lot of friends.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't think it's the size of the friend though.
He sure has a lot
of friends that he has. You know, so when I saw the story, I found it quite interesting. In fact, as we're talking now, I just checked the latest update on Linda Ikeji's blog. It's 114 million now. So this is even stale as it is right now, what we're projecting. So Reno Omokre, on the other hand, now decides to say he wants to jump on this. So
and nobody will give him money.
No. So what he said, he says, I do not need you to send me 1 million naira to prove you love me. All I need is for you to prove you love Nigeria by signing this petition to send Buhari to prison for perpetuating the Lekki massacre protesters here. So it is up to you and I to show that human lives matter in Nigeria and nobody can kill Nigeria like goats and chicken and go scot-free. Buhari belongs to jail. Help me put him there. So this was what Reno Omokre did in response to Davido's post. So what got me thinking, when I saw Davido's fundraising thing, or say, oh, show me love and all of that, and they've raised now 114 million, right? I'm just thinking, if we have people that are so influential like this, how can we channel that influence into real critical issues that we're going through in our nation? Right? So how can we push? How can we monster? Because you see, I mean, we're talking about the cost of election, remember?
Absolutely.
We were talking about the cost on Monday, we're talking about the cost of elections. Yes. Now, and we all know that anything that has to do with elections, money is needed. Money is needed. So if we come together, just like the way Davido has raised 114 million naira to say, you know what, I want to raise 10 billion. I want to raise 100 billion. Can we monster all these Obi Kubana, all these people that you know they say they have a lot of money? Yes. Can we monster those people and pick a candidate that will represent us come 2023? Do you understand? Absolutely. I just wanted us to have that kind of thinking. No because it's not about raising. Okay, so you raise 140 million naira. What do you use it for? Drinks, for party, and all of that. That's not the point. So if you have this much power to be able to wield, you know, this much influence. I mean, this is under how many under a few hours. What is no? It's not even up to 24 hours. It's just a short period. I don't know the number, the length of time now, but it's just a short period. And he's raised 140 million. So just imagine if we take Nigeria seriously, like what Reno Omokre is saying, right? Maybe not sending Buhari to jail. Maybe what can we do to say, you know what, let us build a third leg, a third force that is big enough to change and transform the narrative of Nigeria. Absolutely. It will go a long way.
Totally.
All right.
But there is no clear
I'm still saying, Sha, if you're my friend and you cannot raise 1 million naira for me, that's just a joke. All right, so we'll see you after the break to discuss diversity, inclusion, and equity. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on PlusTvAfrica.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, diversity includes all the ways in which people differ, compassing the different characteristics that makes one individual or group different from another. Equity is the fair treatment, access, opportunity, and advancement of all people, while at the same time striving to identify and eliminate barriers that have prevented the full participation of some groups. Inclusion, on the other hand, is the act of creating environments in which any individual or group can be and feel welcomed, respected, supported, and valued to fully participate. So when you think of Nigeria side by side with diversity, equity, and inclusion, what do you see? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You see, what do you see when you think Nigeria and diversity, inclusion, and equity?
For me, what?
Well, we fail.
I don't know why I keep thinking of federal.
Failure.
I keep thinking
federal
of federal
character
because of this, but we both know that we do not have that currently in Nigeria because of the fact that it's not evenly distributed across the borders. So, but I would leave this to our guests to actually.
What a smart way.
To actually dive.
So we actually
Yes.
diverse in terms of who we are as a people. But when you go to organizations, it is actually tough for you to see that diversity. There's every likelihood that, I mean, there are some organizations you just know clearly that the head is an Igbo man because of the kind of, I don't know. In terms of equity, I don't see that playing out a lot in most of our organizations. Then in terms of inclusion, that one is a bit tough as well. It's something that I think there's a lot of room that needs to be
addressed.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement in that sphere.
Okay.
So on that note, let me keep quiet and bring in our expert. Dr. Okere, has over 20 years of experience as a consultant. He is currently the Africa Regional Vice President for Hofshed Insight. This your name has come again. Also doubles as the Managing Director for Hofshed Insight Nigeria. Hofsted. Now Nasabi. Dr. Okere has a bachelor degree from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Nigeria. He holds an action learning-based MBA from Business School, Netherlands, and doctorate degree in business administration from the same university. Now, Dr. Morel Shulman Onyechi, on the other hand, is a language and culture expert originally from the Netherlands. She has extensive experience in the research, consulting, and teaching environment. She holds degree in language and culture, culture studies and communication sciences, and a PhD in language science and technology. She is a certified organizational cultural expert, and she's joined in live with us in studio. Thank you so much. Dr. Oke and Dr. Morel.
Thank you.
Now, this matter, First of all, Dr. Oke went to Netherlands to go and collect degree and brought wife for his brother. So, that is a fantastic way to bring diversity. You know, I had to throw that in.
You're just amazing. Amazing.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
You know, so, I mean, when you sent me that report, first of all, maybe I would like to come to Meryl if she can break down what that report, what you guys found out. And, you know, when you sent it to me, I looked at it, I said, wow, we have a very long way to go when it comes to things like this. And how even informed are we about, how aware are we that this is actually a problem that we need to start being deliberate about solving, right? So maybe you should break it down for us, Morel. What were your findings?
Thank you. All right, so diversity, equity, and inclusion is a very important topic in global research because it has been shown in many different countries that it actually helps your business thrive if you have a good DEI strategy and if people feel like they belong in your organization. And so we wanted to find out how is the state of DEI in Nigerian companies, especially because Nigeria is one of the most diverse countries in the world. And being like, as a people, because we are so diverse, how is this actually reflected in our organizations? So we set out to investigate companies listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So we included 148 companies, largest organizations in Nigeria, and we analyzed them on 4 parameters. So we look at age diversity, we look at gender diversity, so how many women and men are on the boards and on the excos. We look at ethnic diversity, and finally we look at educational diversity. And there we're looking at whether people come from different educational backgrounds. So not everybody is coming from the same engineering or management degree, etc. And we analyze the companies in terms of their leaders, and that's the board and the executive committee. Right? And what we found is that there's, like you said, there's a lot of room for improvement, actually. So maybe not surprisingly, Nigerian companies tend to score best on the parameter of educational background.
Exactly.
Right? There's a lot of people that value education in Nigeria, and that's being reflected very well in the report. So you're seeing that people, for example, have both an engineering degree and a management degree. So the scores there are pretty good. But for the other 3 parameters, and that's gender, age and ethnicity, the scores are not sufficient. And there you're really seeing that certain groups are underrepresented.
Let me come to you, Dr. Okere. Why is equity, inclusion, and diversity, why is it important?
Now, I'll tell you a story, a very interesting story, if you may. They found out about 13 years ago that women were more susceptible to accidents. Why do you think so? Fatal accidents. Why do you think so?
I have no idea.
Okay. How do they test cars?
Men.
Not just men. You know, they put dummies in the car.
Yes.
So the dummies that were put in the car, crash test dummies, were made after the archetypal American man. So a certain height, just a little bit taller than I am, and a bit bigger than I am, you would have the crash test dummies in that size. Now, women generally are a little bit smaller than men. And if a woman is pregnant, for instance, she's much more likely to suffer damage in an accident. All of these things were not put into consideration when building crash test dummies and testing vehicles. And why was that? Why is that so? Why is that so? Because there were no female engineers.
Oh, really?
Testing. So it was actually a female engineer
that
found this out.
They brought it to their knowledge.
Yes. And then I'm not going to name the car company so that I don't get sued. But it was a particular car company which is known for safety now, that they actually had that, and they began to design cars considering that it's not just men that drive vehicles, that women also drive vehicles as well. Now this is something that diversity, equity and inclusion brings to you. It brings a completely different perspective. You know, I'm Igbo. I was born here in Lagos and I grew up here in Lagos. I speak Igbo, I speak Yoruba, I speak English, and I pretend that I can speak French. I pretend. So now, someone like me, I would say, would be very, very fortunate because, you know, from birth, I'm sort of like an amphibian. I have gills and I can swim in the water, in quote, and I can walk on land. I can blend with the Igbo culture and I can blend with the Yoruba culture. And to add to that, I went to school in the Federal Government College Abuja, in the Federal Government College, a unity school, and I had this benefit before becoming an adult to work with people from different parts of life from Nigeria. Yeah, but not everybody in Nigeria has that benefit. Yeah, so people like us perhaps might be able to see things differently from others. Yeah, we struggle in this country to understand each other. Our culture is one of our strongest points, but sometimes perhaps because we're so collectivist in our thinking, we hold so dearly to what we're familiar with and what we know and what we like, that we're not willing to understand the other person. And you see all these challenges. So diversity, equity, and inclusion helps us to understand each other better, brings a completely different perspective. It can help you solve problems in business. And diverse teams tend to outperform homogeneous teams all the time. So let me qualify that. Well-managed diverse teams outperform well-managed homogeneous teams. Well-managed diverse teams outperform them all the time.
You're taking notes.
I'm actually learning. Now I'm going to look at it from the perspective. You said you looked at it from the perspective of the age, ethnic, and the gender. Now we can assume that the gender, we have females that are in positions of they can wield some sort of influence when they get higher, because it's also said that the higher you go, the fewer women you get to see. So is it possible that there will be a level of diversity in terms of gender representation in Nigeria?
As in the number of women?
Number of women,
yes.
Number of men, will they be equally represented in the higher status or higher cadre in companies especially?
Currently, no. Sadly, currently, no. Gender diversity was one of the areas where corporate Nigeria underperformed significantly. Currently, in our 2021 report, 18 of the companies of Nigeria's biggest companies, Nigeria's most prominent companies, don't have any female top manager or board member.
You're kidding me.
No. 18 of them. 18 of them don't have any woman in a senior position. 18 of them. 35 of them don't have any female on their boards, and 45 don't have any female on their boards, and 35 don't have any female in senior management. So 18, no.
So all these people that are shouting women liberation, where are they? Why are they not meeting these companies?
So you see, diversity is indeed something that, can we legislate it? Perhaps, but how effective would that be? You know, people have to see the benefit. And it's not just having women, it's also having people from other ethnic groups.
And their competence as well.
Yeah, you have to consider, it's not just, you have to see the benefit in it. You have to see the fact that, look, perhaps if we have women working in senior positions over here, perhaps we might have less Me Too incidences happening in the organization.
True.
Perhaps. And for those of us who don't understand what Me Too is, perhaps you can dial in and ask.
Google. He's your friend. But I was going to come to Dr. Muriel because it seems like you, because anytime, I mean, it's interesting you talked about your background. I was born in the north. I'm from Edo State and Benin. I was born in the north. I grew up in the north. Then, in fact, my grandfather had to threaten my mother. That's because I was supposed to go to ABU Zaria. I said, you cannot have a child that is from this part of the world and she does not even have any access or any link to her background, her home state. So for university, she has to come back home. South. That was how if not, I was going to finish there in the north, you know, go to ABU Zaria and all of that. But when I see you getting married to an Igbo man, for me it already tells me that you are someone that has broken that cultural barrier where you see people and you just see people, not you're now looking, oh, this is a Nigerian, this is an Igbo man and all of that. So I wanted to ask you where you think the role of mindset plays when it comes to that acceptance of diversity, the acceptance of equity, and the acceptance of inclusion, because there's a particular mindset that no matter what you say, we are not doing it, we're not doing it. So where do you think that role of that mindset is?
I think that's a very good point, and it's immensely important. When I first moved here, I was on the job market, you know, I was open to new opportunities, and OK knows this story that I was introduced to a company who actually wanted a white woman in their company, which I already found a little bit strange. Like, that shouldn't be your criterion for, oh, a white woman looks good for the company, but they were looking for a white woman, and so I interviewed with them. And then the MD told me flat out, the only reason why I would consider having you in my company is because you are married to an Igbo.
Ooh.
And that Igbo-ness must have rubbed off. And at least Igbo men know how to do business, so maybe he has taught you some things.
Wow, what an interesting story.
Yeah, and he was like, you're gonna have to learn Igbo if you want to work here, because I only hire Igbo people and everybody speaks Igbo on the floor, because that's what I prefer. And I think that's exactly like the mindset that's not gonna take you very far, because what you really should be looking for in your company is just the best person that can do the job.
Yes.
Right? If you're only looking at the best Igbo that can do the job, yes, there's many great Igbos, but there's also many great people from other walks of life or other ethnic groups, etc. And that's what a true successful business strategy should look like. And without that mindset, I think the company is going to suffer at some point.
Wow. Do you think that Nigeria will... Oh.
Sorry, darling, let me take a break. Let us take a break. Let's go and drink. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there is regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters. NIMASA bears responsibility for search and rescue, shipping development, and ship registration.
NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on this channel.
Now, if you just tuned in, we are having an amazing chat with Dr. Oke and Dr. Muriel on enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in Nigeria. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. So just a quick example before I come back to you, Isi. You see, on Ways, we're actually diverse. I'm just thinking now. I have a Shekiri. I have somebody from Akwa Ibom.
How many men do you have?
No. So gender diversity. No, you're not gonna bring that. So the thing is,
will I still get invited to the show?
No. No. So the thing is, everybody keeps asking, why is it an all-female team? And I need to explain this, right? Like you rightly pointed out. Let me tell you something. There's some level of emotional power and intelligence that women have that men can never smell. What we are trying to do, and with the kind of appeal, because we want to appeal to the minds of men. Now men, they watch us, not the women. So we want to appeal to a particular age, which is the youth, and we want to appeal to the mindset of a lot of men out there. So we need to be able to put the kinds of things that would attract those people. You are too tough. We need soft. We don't need tough. Just to put it out there. But you see, you're going to go. Okay,
what you said, Dr. Miro, actually resonated with me because I went for an interview way back, and what the MD actually said to me was, then I wasn't married, and said, why haven't you sold yourself? That you're supposed to sell yourself before you actually sell a product. And what I thought about is, it's not about you actually selling yourself. It's about you deciding whether you want to get married or not. So we have the cultural thing also playing out there for us. So why am I saying this? We are looking at ethnicity, we are looking at culture. Can we as a people rise above this?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Miro, is that for you or is that for me?
Both of you. So you can take turns.
Wow, that's a tough question. Can we rise above it? Yes. Will we rise above it? Maybe. When will we rise above it? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I have this theory that the African woman is the most discriminated human being on earth. When you look at how power has been distributed in life, the African woman is the least powerful human being. Hearing a story like yours, why are you not married? Mm-hmm. You have all these societal barriers and expectations that are put on you as an African woman. I will say this very boldly. My mom grew up in a particular world. And I couldn't help her to level the playing field. Yes. My sisters and my wife grew up in also a particular world, and perhaps things had changed a bit from my mother's time, but certainly not where it should be. We should do something to make sure that the world that my daughter grows up in is not like that, that she will not be asked a question, a ridiculous question like, haven't you sold yourself to a man to marry you? Supposing you don't want to get married.
Like I said,
it's
a thing of choice.
And you would imagine, unfortunately, sometimes some organizations refuse to hire married women. Mm-hmm. Some organizations refuse to hire married women, young married women, because they will be afraid that the young lady might end up, getting pregnant and she will not be available. Because she's going on maternity leave or something like that, and there are so many of these idiosyncrasies, so many things that we need to first of all be aware of. Like Uwa said, awareness is before you start treating any illness, you first of all need to diagnose and
measure. See it as a problem. Because I was going to come back again to say, what's this costing us as a people, right? Not having this at the back of our mind, what's it costing us? Because I mean, you said something about diverse team outperform, right? Yeah. If companies, CEOs understand the power of diversity, equity, inclusion, do you think they would just look away? Do they know? And what's it costing them as a company?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think we can improve the situation with time, but we need awareness for that, right? And that's why we want to take this first step to kind of set the baseline for this matters. But a lot of the global research is, of course, based on the Western countries. And so we're hoping that by focusing on Nigeria in particular, we can raise attention for this.
You want to add something to that? Yes. So are you doing something? So for those 18 companies that you found out that, had very poor score sheets, are you doing something like recommendations? Are they even willing to hear what you people have to recommend?
So this report is still fresh, fresh off the press.
Yes, I saw it. That's why we're happy to take it.
Yes, indeed. So it's still fresh off the press. We're going to, of course, circulate this. Thankfully, the CEO of the Nigerian Exchange, Mr. Temi Pokuola, he actually helped us launch this report just last week.
Awesome.
And he also reiterated the commitment of the stock exchange towards ensuring that diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that becomes a mainstay in companies in Nigeria. So we're going to be circulating this report, and we're hoping that leadership in corporate Nigeria will take it seriously, and they won't just make it a tokenistic issue in the sense that, okay, how many we have a shortfall of women, yeah, let's find 3 women and put on the board or something like that. No, that's not the way to go about it. It's to look at your overall structure, your way of doing things and your mindset, and ask yourself, how are we inadvertently, overtly or covertly, suppressing women from getting ahead, suppressing people from a particular ethnic group or ethnic groups from getting ahead, or people from a particular age range or educational background, among other things. How can we make sure that we have an inclusive, equitable environment in our company? So you have to start from somewhere.
Nigerians are known to be well educated, and they were the ones that, they were quite diversified in their education. So in terms of what we currently have, we all complain that currently in Nigeria, the education sector is abysmal currently. And yet you have a report that states that Nigerians love education. So do you think that the government should pay more attention to, or Nigerians in general should pay more attention to, formal and informal education together? Dr. Moore.
I'll jump in after you.
It's a hard question for me to answer because I obviously didn't school here.
Yeah.
In our research, we didn't make a distinction between, we didn't give extra points to people that were schooled abroad versus here or anything. We're really just looking at the different points of view. So we're not looking necessarily at the quality of education, but just somebody that has been trained as an engineer.
The fact that the person has a degree.
Yeah, exactly. And then degree in which direction? Because you can imagine that somebody that is trained as like a scientist has a different perspective to problem solving, for example, than somebody that has a degree in arts.
Yeah.
And so that's what we really cared about in terms of just the perspective that they can bring to the table and like different voices and opinions.
Dr. Okay?
Yeah, so educational diversity for us is, like Miro said, different views, so if you have a team of engineers, are you being blindsided by being perhaps very empirical, as they will say, scientists are empirical. So you are all about figures. Does it add up? Does it add up? Does it add up? And you're possibly forgetting the human side of things. So we looked at STEM, the science, technology, engineering and math. And we also looked at the liberal arts. We looked at the pure arts as well, and looked at finance as 4 main branches of education. And 21 companies in Nigeria got a perfect score on that parameter. 21 companies got a perfect score, meaning that they had such a diverse board and management team. They had people from these 4 walks of life represented on their boards.
Although it is fair to say that everybody generally had a management degree or a STEM degree, and less the liberal arts or the pure arts. And those were underrepresented.
You'd have come to our feed now. Did you come to the media to come and...
Now, I have bad news for media.
Why? What's the bad news?
We also looked at the results per
industry,
and media was the poorest scoring.
Media had the worst diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yeah.
The media industry.
What were the parameters that failed the test the most?
All of them, unfortunately.
Wow, age, ethnic, diversity, everything.
The media industry had the lowest scores. I mean, in the report you'll be able to find it. We were surprised, because you would think that the media will be perhaps the most...
no, it's not like that, so. It's not like that. Let's just not open our bomb in the public. But I was going to ask you, right, as we're wrapping up this conversation, because we are having fun and the time is running away.
Yeah.
So what will a healthy company that is positioned for success look like in terms of diversity? If you want to say, okay, this is a very healthy company, and it's the way this plays out, the DEI is well positioned for success, what would that company look like?
Okay, so perhaps we'll talk about the companies that performed very well.
Okay.
The best performing companies in Nigeria, or companies in Nigeria, you would see Transcorp Hotels had the highest score. The Transcorp Group, interestingly, the group company also ranked amongst the top 10 in that.
And also Transcorp Hotels has a female MD.
Yeah,
one of the few companies that has one.
We love her. We know her.
They did very well, and again, interestingly, this year they reported, if I remember correctly, about a 700% increase in their revenues between last year and this year. So, can we draw a straight line and say diversity is what's causing it? Perhaps, perhaps not. But a diverse company is
it's already positioned for success, right? I mean, if a woman, I think it was Transcorp, I was watching the new policy on health, on checks, due to the COVID-19, I saw a video where they talked about, you know, cleaning certain areas that you never have thought that somebody should be thinking about cleaning when it comes to like managing the hotel, cleanliness and all of that, and trying to prevent the COVID-19. So it's very possible that because there's a woman CEO in that company, she's beginning to think. I mean, if I am a CEO of a company, I know how many things that my mind will run through that a man would just not understand.
Take note.
Right? The man will not take note, right? So I like that idea. I would just want you to break it more down. Like, so in terms of age, what was the age like? In terms of ethnicity, what was it like? In terms of educational background, what was it like for that company? Maybe we should just stay on that company.
So I'm just looking at their scores now. Transcorp Hotel, they had a total of 76 out of 100 in terms of the total score. For gender diversity, they got 25 over 25. Wow. For age diversity, they had 17 over 25. For ethnic diversity, they had 15 over 25. And for educational diversity, they had 19 over 25.
What is a healthy age diversity? I'm very curious about that. Because you know why? Most companies that want to recruit, they tell you, oh, graduate trainees are like, you shouldn't be more than 25 and all of that, a certain age, right? So what is a healthy age diversity for you? What's your parameter for age diversity and that you can score it good score?
Yeah, so we wanted representation from different age groups, right? Okay. So we classified age groups as like 40 to 45, 45 to 50, etc. And what you would hope to see is that not all of your board and all of your senior management is between the age of 50 and 60, right? And what we would especially hope to see is that also underrepresented groups are being represented, and that's the younger people in Nigeria. Somebody that's 38 years old can have plenty of business experience to have earned that seat at the table, but that's not happening very often. I think we saw it was about 2% of all senior management.
Senior management 2%, less than 2% are less than 40.
Wow.
So basically, you have to be an old man or old woman to be in leadership in Nigeria. We were having a very interesting conversation, and I say this with a lot of respect. A lot of the people who currently occupy leadership positions in Nigeria got there quite early.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
There's a lucky generation in Nigeria.
We fail woefully if you take this to politics.
There's a lucky generation in Nigeria. Those people who finished university before 1984. Those people are finished. They're a very lucky generation. I don't know how to say it, but if you look very well the math in Nigeria, you would see that these guys started a lot of the businesses you see in Nigeria now, and a lot of them have been at the helm of affairs, for 20, 25 years, and they're still there. And then you have the proper Generation X, who unfortunately are bearing the brunt, as it were, in Nigeria, still quite almost Nigeria's forgotten generation. So we have, in our society, age is power. Age is power. The older you are, the more respected you are, perhaps the more infallible you become. You can't question an old person. It's not in our society, in our tradition. So older people, yes, indeed have power. We looked at the boards, we looked at management teams, and we found that the average age of the CEO is 54. 54 years old. So 54-year-old is average age CEOs. Well, maybe not too old. If you look at other countries as well, you might also see that. Yeah, but we are heavily skewed more towards the 50 and 60-year-olds than the 40 and under 40s.
Under 30s.
Yeah.
And
So,
what is the ripple effect of this?
Well, perhaps it means that we would, when you have the next generation of leaders, they probably wouldn't have had enough experience. Yeah, enough experience. So, you know, it's something that we need to create. We need to create that platform. Again, we're not saying that you should now go and fill up your boards or your management teams with younger people, but it is systemic. It's showing you that there's a system that basically puts you on the line for a long time. You know, perhaps it's also a reflection of our economy. Maybe if our economy is a lot better, you would have more young entrepreneurs starting businesses like the Zuckerbergs of this world. When we don't have enough of them.
But I think the
Nigeria.
fintech space, they're doing amazingly well.
For our population size?
Yeah, well, it might seem like a drop in the ocean, but they are doing amazingly well. I was going to quickly say, because we ran out of time, I was going to ask that, are you planning to take this report or this research into governance in Nigeria? Because it's
a sensitive topic.
You cannot help us out now.
Well,
what's where?
Maybe. You see, for us, we are concerned about corporate Nigeria because majority of the people in Nigeria are employed by organizations. The government indeed, as standalone, is a large employer of labor. But we believe that corporate Nigeria is where the action is happening. Yeah, and perhaps
you're just running away from politics.
No. But I would side him on this. I would concur with him because it's good.
What do you want to concur?
Stay away from politics.
No, you don't get it. So the thing is, right? If we want to make a much more impactful change, we are all looking for a better Nigeria, right? That has inclusion, equity, and all of that.
Yeah.
We also need to infiltrate the people that are decision makers, policy makers, right? Yeah. You know, I'm just saying.
Reality speaking.
Yeah, this is a start. Who knows?
But this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Would love to bring you guys back on again. Let us also see the progress reports. Maybe you come and check our own company out. I'm not there. I'm not the one that invited you. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Vera and Dr. Okere. We've had a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Isi Ofodile.
Thank you.
All right, so before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagrams at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment. And more importantly, we're planning a giveaway to say we started a giveaway to say thank you to you for believing in the Ways brand. So follow us on Ways so you can see all the goodies that are available for giveaways. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. Diversity is having a seat at the table, inclusion is having a voice, and belonging is having that voice be heard. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring you another great conversation. Enjoy.